It's morphin' time!
Dragon Sword!
Mastodon!
Pterodactyl!
Triceratops!
Saber-tooth tiger!
Tyrannosaurus!
Hello everyone and welcome back for some more TV and movie gossip, secrets and drama. If you grew up in the 90s, there's a very good chance that you were a fan of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The TV show ran from 1993 to 1995 and became one of the most quintessential 90s children's TV shows, and it spawned an entire empire of spin-off shows, toys and merchandise. However, behind the scenes, the show and the cast members were involved in many dark secrets and scandals, such as why some of the cast got fired, criminal convictions, and even accusations of homophobic abuse. So today we're going to be going through what happened to the original actors from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the dramas they've been involved in, and what they've been doing since the show. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. Austin St. John, the Red Ranger. Austin St. John, whose real name is Jason Geiger, was cast in the iconic role of Jason, the Red Ranger, in 1993. Austin was a martial arts enthusiast with a background in Taekwondo and Judo, which made him a natural fit for the action-heavy role of the Red Ranger. Jason, the character, became the de facto leader of the original 5 Power Rangers, and Austin quickly became a fan favourite for his strong, fearless portrayal of Jason. However, behind the scenes, Austin's time on the show wasn't as smooth as it appeared. The original cast of Power Rangers was famously underpaid despite the massive success of the show. The production of the show was non-union, which meant that the cast members were paid less, and there were less strict rules when it came to working conditions on set. In fact, according to Walter Emanuel Jones, who played the Black Ranger, Power Rangers was making about $1 billion a year, but the actors only got paid around $600 per episode. And Walter even said that he could have worked the drive-thru at McDonald's and still earned more money than he did on Power Rangers. This issue of low pay eventually led to growing dissatisfaction among the actors, especially as the franchise exploded into a cultural phenomenon. Austin, alongside some of his co-stars, began to speak up about the unfair treatment and wanted to negotiate a pay increase. However, the producers of the show decided to simply replace the actors, especially because for half of the episodes, the characters are wearing masks anyway. Also, just as some extra information in case you don't know, a lot of the fight scene footage from the early seasons of Power Rangers was actually taken straight from a different show, which was a Japanese show called Super Sentai. And what they did was just take the fight scenes where the characters were in costume and they just dubbed it over in English. And then the scenes of the Rangers out of costumes were added in afterwards. The footage of the villain Rita Repulsa was also from the original Japanese show, and they just dubbed it over in English, which explains why Rita's mouth movements never quite matched up to the English voiceover.
I've got such a headache! Somebody bring me an aspirin!
Anyway, back to the show, and the reason given for Jason, Trini and Zach's exit from the show in the second season was that they had been chosen for the World Peace Conference in Switzerland, so their powers were transferred to 3 new Rangers. However, the real reason, as I said earlier, was that the actors were let go due to the pay dispute. In fact, the 3 actors had actually stopped showing up to set quite a long time before their final on-screen appearance due to the pay dispute. So the editors had to use some previous footage of the actors to fill in the gaps, and they made some creative editing choices. And there was even an awkward scene where they clearly used body doubles to explain Jason, Zach and Trini's departure without actually showing the actors' faces.
You guys are going to Switzerland?
All 3 of us?
Yep. Congratulations. It's a chance of a lifetime.
Austin's departure from Power Rangers marked the beginning of a tumultuous period in his career. He struggled to find work in Hollywood and took on a variety of jobs outside the entertainment industry, including working as a paramedic. He even enlisted in the military for a while, serving as a medic in the Middle East. Austin had also found himself at the centre of persistent rumours, claiming that he had pursued a career as a gay adult movie star. These rumours began circulating in the late 90s and early 2000s, driven largely by misinformation and speculation on internet forums and fan sites. The rumours primarily stemmed from the fact that Austin looked somewhat similar to an existing gay adult film star, which only fueled the gossip and speculation even further. And the adult film studio apparently leaned into these rumours as well, even though it wasn't true. In multiple interviews over the years, Austin directly addressed these rumours and strongly denied that he had ever worked in the adult film industry, and he also made it clear he is not gay. However, in later years, Austin was also criticised due to some homophobic comments he made during a Q&A panel where he appeared to mock another person's voice, implying that it would be too gay to be on the show.
I remember the other guy, and he had this nasally, high-pitched, just, no. Direction from? No, I mean, come on. Hey guys, could you, I'm gonna need you at the top. What was it again? Oh, that command thingy? I'm gonna need you there with the little robot guy.
Despite some controversies, Austin remained a popular figure among Power Ranger fans, and he has returned to the Power Rangers franchise on several occasions, such as on Power Rangers Zeo, Power Rangers Wild Force. As of today, Austin is still involved in the world of Power Rangers, though his career has taken a new direction. He's become a motivational speaker, often sharing his experiences from the show. However, in 2022, Austin found himself involved in a major legal scandal when he was arrested as part of a federal investigation into fraud relating to COVID-19 relief funds. The Department of Justice alleged that Austin, as well as several other people, were involved in a scheme to illegally obtain Paycheck Protection Program or PPP loans, which totaled $3.5 million. And Austin could face serious legal consequences and up to 20 years in prison if convicted. In April 2024, Austin pleaded guilty to the charges as part of a plea deal. However, no conviction has happened as yet from what I can find. And so, Austin was once a beloved character within the Power Rangers universe and was arguably one of the most well-known Power Rangers of all time. However, his recent controversies and legal issues have somewhat damaged his reputation within the community. Jason David Frank, the Green/White Ranger. Jason David Frank is perhaps the most iconic actor to emerge from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and his journey as Tommy, the Green Ranger, and later the White Ranger, made him a legend within the fandom. Jason, who was around 20 years old at the time when he was cast, was originally only supposed to appear in a limited story arc during the first season of the show, playing the villain turned hero. When Tommy lost his Green Ranger powers in Season 1, fans were devastated. However, the show's producers recognised his massive popularity, and they brought him back as the White Ranger in Season 2, now taking on the role of team leader. Jason's portrayal of Tommy became a central figure in Power Rangers, and his time on the show would continue well beyond the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Jason stayed with the franchise for several seasons, appearing in Power Rangers Zeo, Power Rangers Turbo, and even coming back for a stint in Power Rangers Dino Thunder. Over the years, Tommy became the most recurring character in Power Rangers history, cementing Jason's status as a fan favourite across multiple versions of the show. However, Jason's time on Power Rangers wasn't without its share of drama. Behind the scenes, rumours swirled that Jason and his co-star Austin St. John, who played the Red Ranger, had an ongoing rivalry. Jason did once talk about this feud in an interview which I found on YouTube, and in the interview, Jason alleged that Austin was fake as well as rude and disruptive on set.
Cocky and arrogant, and hey, I could beat this person. That's all I've heard for years from that guy. Me and him got in physical fights on set before. It was horrible. Table reads, everything we would do, we'd read table reads. My line would be like, it's morphin' time. That's my line. This is my job. You take it really serious, man. Come on. Just say your line. So these are years of things that that built up.
But Jason did also say in the same interview that he doesn't hold grudges and he can forgive but not forget. And in a different interview with the Hashtag Show in 2017, Jason said he doesn't speak to Austin very much, but there was no beef between them, and it was so long ago now, and it sounded like the two of them had moved on from the feud. Outside of Power Rangers, Jason pursued a number of other ventures. He was also a martial arts expert with multiple black belts, and he founded his own martial arts school. He also had a short-lived career doing mixed martial arts, or MMA. In addition to his martial arts career, Jason became a staple of the Comic-Con circuit. He was a regular at conventions, always willing to sign autographs, take photos, and interact with Power Ranger fans. However, despite his continued success, Jason faced many personal struggles. In the years following his rise to fame, he experienced bouts of depression, and he spoke openly about his mental health struggles. Unfortunately, his life took a tragic turn when, in November 2022, Jason passed away at the age of 49, and it was later confirmed that he had taken his own life. His last on-screen appearance was the fan-funded movie Legend of the White Dragon, which has yet to be released. Jason's sudden death sent shockwaves through the Power Rangers community, and all of his former Power Rangers co-stars shared tributes to Jason on social media. And so Jason's life and career had incredible highs and, unfortunately, devastating lows. But his impact on pop culture and the Power Rangers franchise is undeniable, and he will likely be remembered as one of the most beloved Power Rangers of all time. Thuy Trang, the Yellow Ranger. Thuy Trang portrayed Trini, the Yellow Ranger. Thuy was born in Saigon, Vietnam in 1973, and the start of her childhood was quite traumatic. Her family fled Vietnam after the fall of Saigon, and they had to endure a dangerous journey by boat where Thuy said that she almost died, and her family later settled in the United States. Thuy even talked about her childhood ordeal in an interview with James Hong in the 90s.
We were on the boat for like 8 or 9 months. There was no space and there was no food, there was no water. And for days I didn't eat and everybody thought I was dead and they wanted to throw me overboard.
Despite growing up in challenging circumstances, Thuy excelled academically and eventually found her way to Hollywood. Thuy was cast as Trini, the original Yellow Ranger, in 1993 at the age of 20. As one of the first Asian American superheroes on mainstream television, Thuy broke new ground and inspired a generation of young viewers, especially young Asian girls who saw themselves represented on screen. The character of Trini was known for her calm demeanour, intelligence, and impressive martial arts skills. And like her character, Thuy had a background in martial arts and performed many of her own stunts. During her time on Power Rangers, Thuy quickly became a fan favourite. However, like her co-stars Austin St. John and Walter Emanuel Jones, Thuy was frustrated by the low pay and poor working conditions on the show. In 1994, during the second season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Thuy, along with Austin and Walter, left the show due to a contract dispute over pay. After leaving Power Rangers, Thuy aimed to build her career in Hollywood, but unfortunately she found limited success. She made notable appearances in films such as The Crow, City of Angels in 1996, which was a sequel to the cult classic The Crow, but she never landed any other major roles. Tragically, Thuy's life was cut short in 2001 when she died in a car accident at the age of 27. Thuy was riding in a car with two of her friends when the car hit some loose gravel on the road, which caused the driver to lose control, and the car hit a roadside rock face and flipped over several times. The other two people in the car did survive, although they were permanently injured. However, Thuy sustained fatal injuries and tragically died in a helicopter while en route to the hospital. Her sudden death devastated the Power Ranger fandom, as well as her co-stars, who remembered her not just as a talented actress, but as a kind and compassionate friend. In the years since her passing, Thuy's legacy has continued to be felt. Many fans and fellow cast members have paid tribute to her, celebrating her as a trailblazer who broke down barriers for Asian representation in the media. At fan conventions and reunion events, Thuy's absence is always felt, and she is frequently remembered with moments of silence and heartfelt speeches from her former co-stars. In fact, in the 30th anniversary movie Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always, which came out in 2023, the character of Trini was killed after sacrificing herself to save Billy, and Trini's daughter then became the Yellow Power Ranger. And this storyline meant that Thuy's legacy of Trini the Yellow Ranger continues to live on. Walter Emanuel Jones, the Black Ranger. Walter Emanuel Jones played the role of Zack, the Black Ranger. Born in Detroit in 1970, Walter was a talented dancer and actor who found his big break when he was cast as one of the original 5 Power Rangers in 1993 at the age of 23. Walter's character Zack was known for his upbeat personality, acrobatic fighting style, and his signature hip-hop kido, which was a unique blend of martial arts and dance moves. Walter brought a distinct style to Zack, which made him instantly popular with fans. His dance-inspired fighting techniques became iconic, and Zack's lively and confident personality made him stand out from the rest of the group. Like his co-stars, however, Walter faced challenges behind the scenes. The grueling schedule, combined with the low pay and no residuals from the endless merchandise and syndication deals, led to growing frustration among the cast. Walter was one of the most vocal about the unfair treatment, and as I mentioned earlier, Walter, along with Austin and Thuy, ultimately decided to leave the show during the second season. After leaving Power Rangers, Walter continued to pursue a career in acting. He appeared in various television shows and movies throughout the 90s and 2000s, including guest roles on shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, CSI, and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. One of Walter's biggest passions outside of acting has been dancing, and he continued to perform and choreograph dance routines long after his time on Power Rangers. Walter also became a fixture on the Comic-Con circuit, and he has remained incredibly popular among Power Ranger fans. He has always expressed immense gratitude for the opportunity to have been part of Power Rangers, despite the struggles he faced during his time on the show. Walter has also had a lasting influence on the Power Ranger franchise. As one of the first black superheroes on mainstream television, Zack meant a lot to viewers who rarely saw people of colour represented as superheroes. For years, there was speculation that the choice to cast a black actor as the Black Ranger and an Asian actress as the Yellow Ranger may have been motivated by racial stereotypes. However, Walter has said in interviews that he actually wanted the role of the Black Ranger because he loves the colour black and that his race had nothing to do with it. In recent years, Walter has remained active in both television and film, though his career has never quite reached the heights of his time on Power Rangers. He has appeared in several films such as Backyard Dogs and House Party, and he has also taken on voice acting roles in movies such as Open Season 2 and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. Walter also appeared in the Power Rangers reunion movie in 2023. So, although Walter was only on Power Rangers for 2 seasons, his legacy as Zack lives on, and he continues to be a beloved figure within the fan community. Amy Jo Johnson, the Pink Ranger. Amy Jo Johnson portrayed Kimberly, the Pink Ranger. Amy was born in Cape Cod, Massachusetts in 1970. She was a gymnast and actress before landing her breakout role as Kimberly on Power Rangers at age 23. Kimberly was presented as the stereotypical girl next door, but her character wasn't just a pretty face. And unlike a lot of other female action roles at the time, Kimberly was also shown to be a capable fighter who could hold her own. Amy Jo's gymnastics background made her an ideal fit for the physical demands of the role, and she performed many of her own stunts on the show. She also became a role model for young girls who saw her as a strong and empowered character in a genre that had previously been dominated by male characters. During her time on Power Rangers, Amy Jo became one of the most popular members of the original cast, and Kimberly's relationship with Tommy, the Green Ranger, became a defining part of the series. Behind the scenes, however, Amy Jo faced some of the same struggles as her fellow cast members, such as low pay and poor working conditions. By 1995, after 3 seasons and the Power Rangers movie, Amy Jo decided it was time to move on, and she left the show during the 3rd season. However, Amy Jo has since said that she does regret not standing with her other co-stars who left in season 2. And she said that the whole cast should have stood together and said they wanted to unionize, and maybe they could all have negotiated better pay together. Amy Jo also said in an open letter in Variety in 2017 that she almost died on set several times due to makeshift low-budget props that malfunctioned. And she was also apparently almost electrocuted to death while making the Power Rangers movie. After leaving Power Rangers, Amy Jo worked to break away from her image as the Pink Ranger. She found success when she was cast in the WB drama Felicity in 1998, playing the recurring role of Julie Emmerich. This role allowed her to showcase her acting abilities and helped her transition into more serious roles. She then went on to appear in a number of television shows and films, including a starring role in the hit Canadian police drama Flashpoint, where she played SWAT officer Jules Callahan from 2008 to 2012. In the years following Flashpoint, Amy Jo continued to evolve as a filmmaker. She wrote and directed several indie films, including The Space Between in 2017 and Tammy's Always Dying in 2019, both of which garnered positive reviews and established her as a serious director in the indie film world. Although Amy Jo slightly distanced herself from Power Rangers in the past, in more recent years she has reconnected with the franchise. And she even made a cameo in the 2017 Power Rangers reboot movie, along with her former co-star Jason David Frank, although their characters were not Power Rangers. Amy Jo did not participate in the 2023 Power Rangers reunion movie though, and there were rumours that it was because she wasn't offered enough money. However, Amy Jo later said on social media that that wasn't true, and the real reason was because, quote, maybe I just didn't want to wear spandex in my 50s. Amy Jo's ability to balance her successful career as an actor, director, and filmmaker while maintaining her connection to Power Rangers has solidified her place in pop culture history. And although she's moved on to new endeavours, she remains an integral part of the Power Rangers legacy. David Yost, the Blue Ranger. David Yost portrayed Billy, the Blue Ranger, and his character became one of the longest-serving Rangers in the franchise. Born in Iowa in 1969, David was a gymnast and actor when he was cast as Billy at the age of 24. Unlike the other Rangers who were often portrayed as strong and athletic, Billy stood out as the geeky one who used his brains rather than brawn to fight the forces of evil. And Billy's character resonated with a wide range of fans who didn't see themselves represented in the more stereotypical action hero roles. While David's character Billy was loved by fans, his time on Power Rangers was marked by significant struggles behind the scenes. David remained on the show longer than most of the other original Rangers, continuing his role for nearly 4 seasons until 1996. He was the only member of the original 5 cast members to stay after the season 2 and 3 cast changes, and his character transitioned into the Power Rangers Zeo show before David abruptly left the franchise. In fact, David's departure from the show was so sudden that fans felt his character's exit was shoehorned in and his final scene felt out of place. And it was later revealed that the footage used of David was archived previous footage, and an unnamed voiceover actor did David's voice because David was not present on set anymore.
Guys, I've made a really important decision. I'll miss you all, but I'm going to stay here on Agratar with Sestria. I think I finally found someone I can really relate to.
I knew you would, Billy.
However, David's departure was not due to him wanting to move on from acting, but instead, it was as a result of his incredibly toxic and painful experiences on set. In 2010, David opened up in an interview with No Pink Spandex about the harassment and bullying he endured on the set of Power Rangers due to his sexuality. As a closeted gay man at the time, David faced homophobic comments and was treated badly by some of the crew members who apparently used homophobic slurs at him on set.
I walked off set one day, and the reason that I walked off is because I was called one too many times. Basically, I just felt like I was continually being told I'm not worthy of where I am because I'm quote-unquote a gay person and I'm not supposed to be an actor and you can't be a superhero.
And the producers allegedly frequently questioned other cast members in private about David's sexuality. There was even a behind-the-scenes clip from the set of Power Rangers that went viral many years ago that appeared to show an awkward moment on set where David was having a conversation with Thuy Trang and Jason David Frank interrupted them.
You're a putty, okay?
Aye! Green. Who's your favorite ranger? Ah, that's what I'm
Can
hearing.
you hear me?
He's hypnotizing the kids. A bunch of
And at one point, it sounds like one of the crew members calls him Gavid rather than David.
It's gonna be, for you, it's gonna be, David.
And some people in the comments said it looked as though someone was flipping David off with the middle finger, and you can see the shadow on David's face. Although other people have said that it was just someone holding up a pen. Ultimately, David said the homophobic harassment became unbearable and he made the difficult decision to walk off the set, effectively ending his time on the show. However, a producer from Power Rangers named Scott said in an interview with TMZ that David left the show over a pay dispute and he was a quote, pain in the ass and no one liked working with him. However, this claim has never been substantiated. After leaving Power Rangers, David struggled with the trauma he had experienced during his time on the show. He stepped away from acting for a number of years and focused on his personal journey towards healing. In fact, he attended conversion therapy for 2 years to try and cure himself of his homosexuality, and he even contemplated ending his own life. He was then eventually psychiatrically hospitalized. Later, David worked behind the scenes in Hollywood, taking on production roles for various TV shows, including The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It wasn't until years later that David felt comfortable sharing his story and speaking openly about his experiences. In the 2010s, David became an advocate for LGBT+ rights and mental health awareness, using his platform to inspire and uplift others who had faced discrimination and bullying. Despite the hardships, David has maintained a connection with the Power Rangers franchise and the fans, and he has appeared at numerous conventions and reunion events. In recent years, David also hinted at returning to the Power Rangers universe, and in 2022, it was announced that David would reprise his role as Billy in the 30th anniversary movie special, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always, bringing Billy back to the screen for the first time in over 2 decades. David's legacy as Billy lives on in the hearts of fans worldwide, and his impact extends far beyond the screen, and he will forever be remembered as one of the most popular Power Rangers characters ever. So there you go, there was a video about the dramas and scandals of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers cast and what the actors have been up to since their time on the show. Did you know about any of these dramas before? And which of the Power Rangers was your favourite? Let me know in the comments. If you'd like to get early access to my videos as well as other benefits, please consider subscribing to my Patreon. It just costs a few dollars a month and it really helps support my channel, and I'll leave a link to that in the description. Please make sure you like and comment on this video to help tell the algorithm this is a great video, and please make sure you subscribe to my channel because it really does make a huge difference. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in a future video. Thank you, bye!